All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna look at its local Google search, city Google search, see if it has BSS for either of them. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, standing for full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video, whatever, somewhere on this profile. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. If our business is rising, if it's growing, we're probably bringing in peeps from this entire spectrum of intent, high intent over on the left, lowest intent over on the right. But if our business is falling, we're missing a chunk of people somewhere. So FSIC will kind of help reorient us what we should be doing. Now here, we only talk about BSS, talk about the highest intent people way over on the left. There's people doing social search and Google search to literally for a boudoir photo shoot in our city right now. Highest intent people closest to the money, easiest to convert. And all the way over on the right, we talk about on our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We talk about BLCS, and there's the lowest intent people, but it's the highest volume of people that exist out there in our city, people that are not currently searching for a boudoir photo shoot right at this second. So we cover both ends, and in our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, we currently only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So on to BSS. So boudoir search sameness. BSS is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1 of Google, that means we're on page 2 or deeper. We're dead, because we know that approximately 80% of all Google searches are page 1 search only. They never even go to page 2. So approximately 80% of the market, the bulk of the market, never even sees page 2, let alone anything deeper. So we got to be on page 1. And guess what? 1 slot on page 1 ain't good enough either, because if we got there's 10 organic slots page 1 or per page on Google. So that means there will most likely be 9 other boudoir photographers all with 1 slot. Well, guess what the buyer's going to do? They're going to click and open everyone's website on page 1, because most likely they ain't going to page 2. So just page 1, contact everyone, get quotes from everyone, and actually, price shop everyone. Everyone's being price shopped against 9 others, and that's not good. It's not good enough. So that is boudoir search sameness. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google is not normal. Yeah, dude, it is not normal to have such few page 1 slots on Google. And it's common, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And the 2 deeper root causes are, one, basically everyone knows about market saturation, and one, basically nobody knows about the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, that's when anyone gets a new iPhone, they throw out their Google My Business profile and their websites, and they now do boudoir photo shoots. Or they get a new camera, now they start posting the mom groups on Facebook, saying they now do boudoir photo shoots. So market saturation, usually because of new gear, and more sellers, the same number of buyers, make it difficult for every single seller. Now, there's also a big market saturation that happened with COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, couldn't work, still had to earn money. Everyone's got a camera on their phone, good camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers came into the market then as well, lowering prices, lowering margins for everyone. And the false belief of page 1 equality, this is actually the #1, from what I've seen, the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. And this is basically assuming everyone gets, every boudoir photographer is going to get either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 on Google. And yeah, I had 1 slot there on my website, but another boudoir photographer came in ranked above me. And yeah, I'm now on page 2, but nothing we can do. That's simply how it is. I got to accept it. Hopefully, someone deletes their website on page 1 and Google repushes me up. And so this is a false belief. This is not real. What actually is real is Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days using the methodology I'm going to show in 2 pictures here. So false belief of page 1 equality, #1 killer of boudoir photography business, is because it makes boudoir photography business owners freeze. They just, they don't even know it's a false belief. They don't even know they don't have to accept it. So they kind of don't even break out of the brain cage to look for solutions, because they didn't even know it was a problem, that they were believing something false. So false belief of page 1 equality. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Look, dude, if we got Boudoir search Sameness, we got 0 slots on page 1, we're only on page 2 or deeper. Approximately only 20% of searches are even seeing us. Yeah, we're disappearing, and it's the canary in the coal mine. Disappearing Boudoir photographer means our business is also on the path to disappearing as well. This is the canary in the coal mine, kind of the first signal to us that, oh man, we got to make some big changes fast. Otherwise, if we got 1 slot on page 1, not good enough either, and that's because one person could hop up from the older pages or a new Boudoir photographer, kick us off. Now we're on page 2, or even if we stay on page 1, we're getting price shopped. We're not standing out. We're being compared to everyone else who also has one link. So we're not standing out. We're not being seen as anything special. So starting our universe here. Disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Finally, though, we finally have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology, and we know that because I invented it, and I actually used it to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in 10 days. Now, S-cubed methodology, we finally got a solution to solve, market saturation, page 1 equality. And actually, it's the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully hold back and outcompete market saturation and actually allow boudoir photographer to continue to grow and scale in the face of market saturation. And the reason for that is, let's say we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's 1 million boudoir photographers total. Everyone's got a website talking about that they're a boudoir photographer. We're one of those boudoir photographers. And we actually realize, hey man, we got to turn up S-cubed methodology to the max. And the way it works is kind of exactly what the name says. We saturate social search with all the highest intent keywords with us being there. And when that happens, it's kind of like, the small rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. When that happens, all those flow into the Amazon. That all flows onto page 1 of Google. Well, if we get enough density. And so let's say we're saturating the first 300 slots across all social search avenues for the highest intent keywords. That flows onto Google. Let's say we're also, simple example, we're also saturating the first 300 slots in Google for the highest intent keywords in our city. Well, that means when a buyer is searching for a boudoir photo shoot right in their city, it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. So we're occupying the first 30 pages of Google. And the other 999,999 boudoir photographers start on page 31 of Google. Ain't no buyers going to page 31. Nope. Ain't no buyers going there. Which means we're the easiest to find. We're showing up everywhere. We are basically kind of the only one peeps can find an organic Google search. And so guess whose business is still growing in the face of 999,999 other boudoir competitors? Ours. So we're dominating social search, which flows into page 1 Google search and actually flows into some other places, which we'll hear about at the end. So this S-cubed methodology, this is the only thing that I've seen that can happen, get the results super fast to stave off and overcome market saturation. The only other thing, there is a second option, is brand. But that takes years, potentially even decades to build. We ain't got decades anymore. We need results ASAP. So S-cubed methodology is the only thing that I'm seeing that fits this criteria. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. A bonus side effect of achieving page 1 visibility is we are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Yeah, that's right. So for every single page 1 slot we take from a competitor, that we get on Google, we're taking it from a competitor and we're pushing one more competitor off page 1. But we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches. Which means, yeah, we're getting more slots on Google page 1, but guess what? For the 80% bulk of the market that we want to come into us, we're actually disappearing our competitors that we can be price shopped against, and buyers ain't even going to find them. 80% of buyers that we care about ain't even going to find them because they don't go past page 1 of search. So this is a added bonus of using S-cubed methodology, kicking our competitors out. They got to scroll way farther than 80%. Ain't scrolling nowhere, and they ain't scrolling past page 1. Page 1 visibility also activates boudoir search visibility for us. Now, this means we're no longer at 0 or 1 slots on page 1. We actually have a GBC recommended minimum of getting to 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for boudoir search visibility. That's because if we got 3 out of 10 on page 1, basically all our competitors will have 1 out of 10 on page 1. And so kind of instinctively, buyers will think, oh, why is Google recommending this person 3 different times compared to everyone else only once? They're probably really good. I should actually check them out first or be the only person I check out. So we're going to dominate people. I got 1 slot, which is basically everyone. Very, very rare cases, someone else will have 2 slots. Extremely rare, but in that extremely rare case, we are dominating them as well. So that's Boudoir search visibility. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So here's our entire micro universe. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. But finally, yes, we do have a solution for this, our S-cubed methodology, which we created. And we achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and we have boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results use an S-cubed methodology for myself. So I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So when I use S-cubed methodology because I created it, so I know how to do it. And we see organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So I did this in 10 days. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 organic search, to 9 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 organic search in 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. Can brand overcome market saturation that fast? There's no time to build a brand. We got AI coming taking people's jobs. There's no time. We're out of time to build a brand. We need a faster solution that gets faster results, get us on page 1 of Google, get us dominating, get us kicking our competitors off. All right, now to the main event here. You can see that this boudoir photography business has BSS, boudoir search sameness for the local search, for their local search and their city search. So, all right, so let's see what we got cooking here. So we gotta go down to the organic. So this is the local Portage Park. All right. All right, let's see. Nope. All right, there we go. See him right there. We got 1. All right, so we got 1 out of 10, dude. We got BSS. Got for local search, we got BSS. We got 1 out of 10 slots. Google page 1. All right, let's go to city search now. Chicago ill. All right, so scrolling, looking. Nope. All right, dude, we're at 0 out of 10. So 1 out of 10 for local, 0 out of 10 for city. So it means we do have BSS for both of them, which means we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for both local and city. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you went and did the local search for yourself and the city, or local search for the highest intent buyer keywords and the city search for the highest intent buyer keywords, and you had BSS for one or both, or you did not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for either one or both of those searches. And you now realize page 1 equality was kind of automatically accepted before, but now you realize it's a false belief. Now you realize, wow, we truly can take as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you understand market saturation with how, basically people get new iPhones, throw up their Google My Business profile and their website saying they shoot boudoir. So get new gear, increase the number of boudoir photographers over time. It's always increasing, and you're actually thinking ahead. You're seeing AI. You accept it's okay. It's probably going to start steal more people's jobs. So what we're actually going to need to do is it's going to force a bunch of boudoir photographers to come into the marketplace that were not boudoir photographers before, but they have, everyone's got a camera on their phone. And so you want to fortify your position ahead of AI taking everyone's jobs, and I don't know, could that double the amount of boudoir photographers in the market? No idea. But you want to fortify your position before then. You kind of want to get more slots on page 1 before that happens to kick out current competitors. and get even more slots on page one to fortify your position against the coming influx of new boudoir photographers that will inevitably be coming into the marketplace. So more sellers for the same number of buyers as AI takes more and more people's jobs. And so you want to fortify you want to kick out the current competitors, fortify your position against future competitors. And you also want the, your CNS cubed methodology is the only solution that you can see that allows you to do that as a boudoir photographer. And you actually want kind of the extra back-end benefits from this as well, which is every day we execute XQ'd methodology successfully. We're actually building like these thematic keyword columns that are plugged, kind of like spokes, that are plugged into our main brand across our social channels, across the internet, our website, our brand name, our social handle name. And as we do more and more of that every day, it actually increases the probability we get recommended an AI overview, this premium spot placement up at the top above everything. And many times, it's literally recommending one studio at a time, based off of thematic keyword relevance, authority, things like that, and frequency. And also every day we execute methodology correctly. So it's building up that momentum in the background for AI overview and also standard AI search and all the different AI search platforms. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we successfully execute SQ'd methodology, build up those thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, kind of like spokes on a wheel. We're increasing the probability AI recommends us in search into the future. Kind of increasing that probability every single day we successfully execute. And you also see that kind of the earlier you jump on this, the more distance you put, kind of the more momentum is built, kind of more fortification, kind of fortifying the levees like New Orleans against the ocean because it's below sea level, and building momentum for back-end AI search, AI overview recommendations forever into the future. Well, for every day that SQ'd methodology is successfully executed against all current and future competitors who are not running SQ'd methodology. Because my current plan is to only run it with one boudoir photographer per city. And so if I were to work with a competitor and that happened, instead you would have to rederive and refigure out and retest SQ'd methodology to figure it out for yourself. And you would never really know if you actually derived it correctly. But even so, you'd have to then go execute it on your own, which you would have less confidence in, because again, you would not have known if you've actually derived it correctly. And you'd have to equal our output of me working with your competitor to maintain our gap where we're already ahead. You'd have to actually double or triple our output to actually close the gap and overtake us, kind of suck away that thematic keyword kind of momentum, back into momentum for AI search engines to steal it away from us. So you realize, screw that. It's better to simply be, the first mover on this, kind of kick out current competitors from page one, actually increase, fortify your position against future competitors as AI takes people's jobs, force them to become boudoir photographers. And so you're saying SQ methodology is the best path for you because you want, page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility, because you need that on your way to become #1 boudoir photographer in your city. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when I open up for new patient intake. My DMs are closed right now. Slots are currently closed. And when you do open up, or when I do open it up, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify for using SQ'd methodology.